Talking Seven Kindness International P, Happy Monkey TV. We are here with Mr. Andrew.
Andrew DeAngelo.
Andrew DeAngelo.
Yeah, man.
So your mission is to legalize marijuana in 50 states. You concentrate on the senior citizens and the children. You have a background in Hollywood and in filmmaking, which allows you to be able to produce these seminars and these film things that you do for the people. And you're also the chief operator of the flyest dispensary I ever seen in my life. And I've seen a lot of them, which is Harborside Health Center. Tell us the history first. How did you guys, I know you and your brother, how did you guys start this thing? How did it go from the street corner to the fly ass setup? Let us know.
Well, my brother Steve is a legend in his own right. He's 10 years older than me, so he's the one that blazed the trail for me. And I was exposed to cannabis distribution when I was a little young pup, 5-6 years old, and then when I grew up a little bit and became a teenager, we started smoking weed together, me and my older brother, and we started dreaming like you do when you smoke weed together.
Right,
and
you get the crazy elaborate idea.
Yeah, man, creativity starts flowing. You're young, you're hungry, you want to change the world, you want to make your impact, and that's really when the first dream of a cannabis dispensary or consumption lounge or club, place where people could gather in the open and not have to hide and not have to be in the shadows. Not to say that we couldn't make the shadows really nice, which we have in our communities, we've been able to do it, but a lot of people got locked up. And me and my brother got busted. We lost everything. We got locked up. So we just wanted to end that cycle. And so when the opportunity came up, Oakland, California, first city in the world
That's the flagship store, right?
That's a flagship store, and this was 13 years ago. Okay. Oakland was the first city to license a cannabis shop.
Okay. Ever in
the United States, in the world since Prohibition.
Or this was still, you needed the medical card, or was it?
It was all medical.
Okay.
All medical. Okay. This is so back in 2006. Okay. We passed the medical law in 97, 98 is when it went into effect. And so we applied for the license. The crazy, audacious freaks that me and my brother are, we were like, well, if they're going to give a license to people, we know how to do this.
Yes,
we've been doing this our whole lives. We have a vision. We have a dream. And we wanted to create an experience for people where every walk of life could come into, where everybody would feel comfortable. I didn't want to have a bunch of bulletproof glass on the wall. I didn't want to have a bunch of bars on the window.
You want the customer to feel good while they're in there.
Yes, that's
right.
right.
You feeling like they're coming to buy a commissary or they're going to jail themselves.
That's right, man.
Get the product.
That's right.
But go ahead, continue. My bad to mess up.
No, man, and as soon as we opened in 2006 and we got the license, the community responded to what we were doing, and a lot of people came in, and not only were we selling weed to people, medicine to people, we were giving away free medical services to the community with some of our profits, yoga classes and Reiki classes and meditation classes for free, and then we had a patient activist resource center where you come in if you didn't have enough money to buy weed and you write a letter to a cannabis prisoner, somebody in prison, or you write a letter to a politician telling them to legalize weed and create safe access. We give you a gram of weed, gram and a half of weed. For doing that. And we generated like 25,000 letters,
Good way to motivate potheads to go in there and fight for their rights.
That's right,
man. We about to start something like that over here, man. We about to start. Thank you for that.
Yeah, man. It's our currency. The cannabis has been the currency of the people, man. A lot of times you can't afford to pay cash for your electrician, but your electrician smokes weed, so you get them a bag of weed and they come in and they fix the electrical in your house. I mean, come on, man. That's the way we've been doing it for generations.
Last week. So how does it go from, what were the loopholes that they put you guys through when you guys first applied for the license, and what did they make you go through, and how do you go from being in the street with it to just what was, and I know the story is long, but the quick of it.
Well, the quick of it is we sold my mom's house to get enough money to start the business. So we took a little bit of a risk there, moved our mom in with us, and and opened a shop. You know, you have to have your display cases. They make you have security, a lot of security cameras, security guards. You have to have a security plan. You have to make sure none of the cannabis that you're selling in there is going to be diverted to the black market or get in the hands of kids or anybody who's not a legal patient at that time.
Right.
And we had to be transparent with the city. They had to see all of our books. They had to check out our salaries we were paying ourselves. They had to be okay with that. We couldn't be too greedy. We had to be a nonprofit. And they were on us to make sure we were good to the community, you know, and that we were paying the city taxes, and the city was using those taxes to educate kids in schools and clean up the cities. And we just started to integrate ourselves into
and let me
normal.
ask you one question. You gotta have
community.
all this stuff set up, the security, the store, the everything, before they even give you the license.
So
they can walk in there and say, we ain't giving y'all shit, and you didn't spend all that money for nothing.
Well, they inspect it, man, and they have a checklist.
Wow.
And you have to comply, right? And it's not easy sometimes, right?
I'm just thinking about like somebody who doesn't have the money to do it. How you gonna get the money to do all that and then still risk them telling you no? Cause like, you know, like if you have a bar, you kind of like, you know, you can establish a business, you kind of get for a food license, you get it before. But no, this you have to like establish it first, and then.
It does raise barriers to entry, man. You know, it really, really does. And so, you know, communities have to come together. It wasn't just, you know, we had to partner with other people that also brought some money to the table, and we all took risks together, you know. And it's you're right. We might not have gotten the license, you know.
Wow.
And
Well, thank God you did.
Yeah, thank God we did. And you know, the rest is sort of history for Harborside. Then once we wanted to legalize for adults, you know, and we just did that in California a year ago. You know, I'm sorry to report we didn't do it very well, and unfortunately.
Why do you say that?
Man, the taxes are so high on cannabis out there in California right now that people who are heavy consumers in the community or working class people can't afford to come in to the dispensaries and get the legal weed. So they're going back to the black market. And you know, that's not intelligent design, right? If we want to intelligently design this thing so everybody benefits, the communities that have been doing this for generations, like you and me and our communities, they need to benefit from this. But we're not going to be able to turn everybody in the world onto weed, which we got to do if we want to save humanity, man. Really, honestly, I think you understand that.
No,
I'm sure Happy Monkey team, the Happy Monkey community understands that, man. You know,
it's more benefits to it medical-wise than it is, you know, enjoyment-wise at this point. You know, we talk to athletes and they tell us, you know, how the creams help them. We talk to the people who deal with the kids with the mental issues.
Yep.
We talk to, you know, senior citizens who may be suffering from Alzheimer's and stuff like that. And, you know, to have something, and most of all, we talk to the people who's hooked on opiates.
Oh, man,
like
crisis.
Suicide and all type of shit over this. So it's a wondrous medical drug that, to me, it's not about smoking, because, you know, we're going to smoke regardless.
Yeah.
Right? To me, it's really a passion so that mother could go and be able to cop her thing for her son.
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm so glad you said that, P, because that's, you know, that's really the big picture, right? There's people suffering. 80,000 Americans going to die from opiates. We can save them all with cannabis, man. You know that. I know that. Our communities know that. And
the problem is
they can't get it.
knows that, too.
I know,
This
man.
is the problem.
It is a big problem. 500 billion a year Americans take of big pharma. 50% of all big pharma drugs made in the world we consume in America. We're only 4% of the global population.
And we consume 50% of it in the world?
All of drugs made in the world.
Y'all better study the numbers, Happy Monkey. Y'all better study the numbers. That's crazy right there.
Yeah,
that is crazy.
We're all strung out on shit, man. And opiates, antidepressants, you know, all these things that our seniors are on. You know, I lost my parents recently, and they were all on 4, 5, 6. Oh, thank you, man. But 4, 5, 6, 7 pills they were taking at the end of their life to manage their health, and all those pills messed them up, you know. And when they started taking cannabis, we started to reduce the pills, right? And they got more comfortable. And and they enjoyed a quality of life, and they were able to leave this earth in a peaceful way where we could just be together, as a family, and that's what cannabis does. That's what ganja does for us. And so I'm really glad you said that about the medicine, man. That, and not to mention all the other things we can make out of cannabis.
No, of course. Now with the stores, right? What's the vision for the future with them? More sprouting up. What's the future of Harborside?
Well, okay. Harborside is California company right now. We're going to stay in California for a while. We just want to get really good at what we do. We have a big farm, so we're growing weed right now. We've got a couple shops. We're opening a few more.
We got to come up there, man, and do an interview on the farm.
Oh, yeah.
The whole
sure, man. Yeah.
You love it. To the sauce,
you love it. We got a big-ass greenhouse. We're building this automated greenhouses. Sometimes you see in magazines like High Times, you see these big-ass greenhouses with the automation, where they have cranes moving the plants around, the trays around, and we're building one of those right now, man. Hopefully.
Man, keep subscribing, keep watching, man. Y'all might get lucky, man. Me and Andrew might bring you out there, man. Happy Monkey, man.
You're welcome. You're welcome to come out, man. We love showing people what we're doing, because being transparent and showing the world what we're doing is how the world's going to accept what we're doing.
Right.
And when you show the world that you're growing a massive amount of weed, I mean, we're growing a massive amount of weed out there.
Compare it to the Narcos field. You see Narcos?
Oh man, it's like
is it the size of the Narcos?
It's comparable, man. I mean, it's half a million square feet under greenhouse. I mean, that's no joke.
This is Happy Monkey, so we got to get to the Happy Monkey questions.
All right. We're very happy tonight on Happy Monkey.
All day.
All right.
Your favorite strain of marijuana?
Well, man.
In
the old days, I would have said Super Silver Haze or Jack Hare, because Jack Hare was my main man and a good friend of mine.
It's crazy. Shout out to everybody at High Times. They actually told us the story of how they named the Jack Herrera's thing. I spoke to somebody who was in the room.
I wasn't in the room when that happened. Yeah. Oh, but I bet that's a dope ass story, man. Probably happened in Holland.
Keep on watching Happy Monkey for that story.
Yeah, man. But now I would say I'm into the Kushes, man. I just got a little bit of Kush in L.A. from a friend of mine called Snoop Kush, OG Snoop Kush. And the story goes that this guy was smoking his joint of some OG that he grew, and he was in traffic, and Snoop pulled up next to him in his limo and said, "What the fuck are you burning, man? I smell it all the way back there."
From the limo?
From the limo. And so he named it OG Snoop. That one it's right now is my favorite, but I'm not sure that's even available to the general public.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That might be private stash. You might got no Snoop himself, man. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. Craziest time. Well, before I even ask that.
Yeah.
What was the hardest strain for you to find? Because if you couldn't find it, that shit is unfindable.
Well, man, some of those old strains like the Panama Reds and the Colombian Golds.
They don't exist anymore.
And the Thai Stick, I wish you could find them. You can't find them. People call it that stuff nowadays.
You couldn't go to the source and find them there neither?
Well, I bet you could. I got
to do an expedition. Man, go over
well, strain hunters and stuff out there. They're out there doing that kind of work, but... I miss those. I miss those strains. Those old heirloom strains.
I wish I would have had the chance to taste one of those. All right. So craziest time while under the influence of marijuana.
Oh man. Well, boy, you put me on the spot with this one. But I guess one of the earliest stories I could tell. I'll tell 2 stories of the old school.
Thank you. Thank you.
When I was a young pup, just graduating college, was Jack Hare. This mid '80s. Jack Hare, brother Jack Hare, came to me and Steve in our crib. The Jack Hare. All right. The Jack Hare. Emperor Wears No Clothes, Jack Hare. That guy. If you don't know who he is, look up Jack Hare.
Read Emperor Wears No Clothes to save your life. Forget if you smoke weed or whatever. You need to read that book. That need to be part of your mental stuff in your brain.
So Jack came to us and he had the first edition of that book that he put together, and all these mimeograph copies from the archives in Washington, D.C. he got, and it was just this big, messy pile that had like weed stains and coffee stains on it and everything that you can imagine. And he said, Steve, Andrew, I've got it. They got to legalize weed now.
Wow.
So we calmed him down a little bit, rolled up a few, had a good sesh. Then me and Steve sat down and started reading this thing, man. Motherfucker was right. If what he found was true, he was right. We could tell he was right that you could do everything with the medicine that we've been talking about. Not to mention the rope and the timber and the paper and everything that is in this room. Pretty much you can make out of hemp. And
the Constitution was written on hemp.
That's
the
right.
First American flag was written.
Yeah, that's right. That's right, man. It's a big part of our history, our culture that got ripped off from us, man.
I believe our first American currency too was.
That's right. And so Jack, we said, you're right, man. Let's make this into a book. And that's when we started to work with Jack, and we published the book, and then we took it on the road, and we had Hemp Tour, and we went
What year is this?
Oh man, this is 85, 86,
Wow,
87.
man, these y'all warriors, man. When y'all sitting in your
late
house
80s.
smoking a blunt or smoking a joint or hitting that bong without nobody fucking with y'all, this face right here, these are the faces y'all gotta thank, man. These is the guys.
Yeah, you know,
80 motherfucking
and the
fuck.
people who came before me, like Jack, you know, and Dennis Perone and Browning Mary, and you know,
Fucking Chicken Chong, man. He ain't
and
did a
going
good
all
job
the way
for y'all.
back to, you know, the king of cannabis in Harlem. You met Mesro and
Wow,
Louis
right,
Armstrong and all
Yeah,
those
Louis
guys,
Armstrong,
man,
Louis
all the
Armstrong.
jazz
I
musicians.
heard he wouldn't play unless he could smoke.
Oh man, all those guys had to smoke while they played. That jazz was sort of born
Through the
through the weed. But anyway, we digress.
Yeah, okay.
So we financed this hemp tour as we finance everything, and we hit the road and went to college campuses. Jack was on the road. Me and Steve were out there, and we started the educational process. And so many things were born from that tour. So many activists got activated. And started other cannabis companies. There's cannabis movements. You know, me and Steve started a hemp company out for that tour, and we started making clothes out of hemp. We started making journals and paper, you know, and getting that part out there. And then Dennis started doing the medical out in California, you know, when all the people were starting to die of AIDS out there.
Wow.
And so that moment, that tour, and helping Jack really was one of the things that helped us legalize in California and sort of start the movement. There's, you know, we were just one sort of branch of that. All of us have played our roles, you know, on the East Coast and in the Midwest and the West Coast to bring this change about that we're all experiencing here. And, you know, certainly the Happy Monkey Crew's contributing to that, you know, message with everything y'all doing. Yeah. So
But we doing it. I hate the word try. We doing it.
Yeah, no, you know, yeah, there is no try, right?
You gotta speak these things to existence. So the second one, don't think I'm watching. Don't think you're gonna get away without not giving us the second one. What's the second one?
The second craziest thing I ever did? All right, well, I'll tell you about one kind of interesting story. I was in Belize with a girlfriend of mine.
And I got stars. I was in Belize
many
with a
years,
girlfriend.
many years ago when weed was illegal, and and we had to cross the border from Belize into Mexico late at night to catch a flight and everything. And I had a little weed with me, and and we were pretty stoned all day, you know, and it was not very good weed in Belize that I could find.
Of course, probably some dirt.
I couldn't find it. I
Some
didn't know the
seed.
right people. I was just a
Yeah.
tourist, right? So, and they
tourist
found
pack.
it, man. They found it, and they busted me, and they threw me in this chicken coop jail. They had this outdoor.
Mexican authorities?
No, the
Belizean
Belizean.
Oh, man.
And they threw me in this chicken coop jail, and they fined the living crap out of me.
Of course,
you
because that's
know.
all it was about. They
Yeah,
saw you. They
yeah.
said, "This is Christmas right here."
I know, it's that
Christmas right here.
that white boy going through the border with a little bit of
We
weed.
We're going to give you life in jail. We're going to give us everything. So what they made you give them?
10 grand, man. This is like
10 grand U.S.?
10 grand US. That was all they get. I had my credit card. That was the max, man. They maxed my credit card, and they're like, okay.
Wow.
And then the judge was all stern, you know. He's
He
like,
got 5 of that.
I don't know.
He got 5 of
then
that. They did that behind the
after they did the fine came the jail time. Right? First they announced the fine, then they announced the jail time. You're like scared, for a second, and he's all stern. And Belize was a British colony, until 1984. He got the wig on and the whole 9 yards, man. He's speaking all British and everything, and it's stern. And he says 6 years.
Oh my God!
And then the longest pause of my life, suspended.
I skipped a beat on that one.
And then they let me out of jail.
Right after you came
dude, they escorted me to the border and they said bye-bye in Mexico. Of course, as soon as I could, I found some weed in Mexico, and I had to hold up for a day or two just to recover from that trauma.
Of course.
Just from that pause, man. That pause probably took like
a 5
years off my life.
In your brain, that shit was like a year. Oh my God.
So that was a pretty crazy. I was a little too stoned and not careful enough. Story that could have resulted in a really bad disaster, but
guy was
cost me 10 grand and a couple days in jail. It was okay,
man. So you've been here to Happy Monkey. You've seen what we got going on. You want a television show.
Yeah,
if
man.
you had to describe this place in one word, what would you say?
Chronic.
Wow, nobody's never said that one.
Chronic.
And that's like my favorite album in the world too.
Yeah. Chronic. I mean, well, the vibe attracts the tribe.
The vibe attracts the tribe.
Actually, that's what Vlad said earlier to me.
Vlad got a lot of good one-liners, man.
He said that. I gotta give credit to Vlad. That was Vlad. That wasn't me, man. But the vibe, because I was telling him, I was like, the vibe in here is so good. It just feels good. It feels like home, man. It feels like a community. It just feels good. It just feels relaxed and fun and connected. It feels connected. If there's another word, I would say connected other than chronic, but just really it has such a good vibe in here, and you are attracting a great tribe of people. And one of the things we pulled off at Harborside was we were able to get a lot of different types of walks of life in here, all different races, all different backgrounds, all different religions. We even had employees who had to, pray to Mecca several times a day. And
we'll have like a Hasidic Jew in here.
Yeah. Oh, right on.
Next to
Good.
a guy that prays to Mecca.
Yeah, all right, good. See, that's what cannabis does. It we can even probably solve Middle East peace with this herb, man.
Right. They had that. It would be more of a thing.
Yeah.
Well, Mr. DeAngelo, thank you for coming through.
Thank you, Pete.
Thank you for coming through. I can't wait to come to the farm. Come check that out.
Yeah, man.
Much success to Harborside and everything y'all going on.
You too, guys.
And shout out to the legends. My brother.
All right, bro.
You already. Happy Monkey TV International. You know what it is.
Peace, everybody. Out.